Hello and welcome to New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project Stay Healthy at Home webinar series. Today you are a part of the booth where it happens, voting in the upcoming election. So as always, I just ask that you type any questions, comments, or feedback in your control panel in the questions box. If it's about a tech question, Frankie is here to assist with that. And if it's about another question about the election, and I don't get to it during the webinar, just know that we will answer all questions within 24 hours. Also in your control panel are two handouts. I have the resources, which are very beneficial since a lot of this is about online applications and registering online. So all of that is in the resources handout in PDF form, and then the other one are PDF version of the slides. Just know I do have videos in this webinar. You will not be able to see them on the PDF, but you can always visit our website, and within 48 hours, this video will be up on our website for you to watch again so you can see those videos. So my name is Erin Smithers. I am the Information Referral Coordinator with the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project, and we are a division-funded program with the ARC of New Jersey since 1983. We support the state's largest network of individual self-advocates and self-advocacy groups. We also provide comprehensive training and resources to self-advocates, direct support professionals, and agency personnel. Today, we're going to discuss voter registration, reliable resources for learning about the candidates and the questions that pop up on our ballot, the November 3rd general election, and then a few voting myths. And if at any time you have a question about something you heard dealing with the election or registration, please pop it in the question box and I will do my best to answer it. So before we begin, I just want to let everybody know that material in this training is specific to New Jersey. I will be talking about the New Jersey election, the New Jersey ballot, and New Jersey websites. Also, material in this training is time sensitive. So we are dealing with an election that is held on a specific date. So if you are watching this webinar later, just know that some of the deadlines might have already passed, some of the dates might have already come and passed, so some of the information might not be relevant. So let's get into that timeline so you know when things are due by and when things are going to be held. So the voter registration deadline is October 13th of this year, which is very, very close. So that means that if you are registering online, it has to be done by the 13th of October. If you're going to register through an application in the mail, it needs to be postmarked by October 13th. So you have to get it in the mail to go out on the 13th. So preferably the night of the 12th or the morning of the 13th it's already in your mailbox. Or you can hand deliver it in person to your local county clerk's office by October 13th. So just a refresher, today is October 6th, so that is not very far away. You want to make sure that if you are not registered, you definitely do that. And you can do that by the time this webinar is over. You can already be registered because it literally takes about a few minutes to do, especially if you're doing it online. The general election this year is November 3rd. It's a Tuesday. And mail-in votes need to be postmarked by November 3rd and received no later than November 10th by 8 p.m. So that means it needs to be going out into the mail by November 3rd, and they have to receive it in their hands by the end of the day, which is 8 p.m. on November 10th. So I would not cut it that close to put your vote in the mail. You want to give yourself enough time so that you can make sure that your vote is counted and that it gets there on time and that there are no issues with your vote. And so the absentee ballot deadline, if you want to request an absentee ballot, that's by October 23rd. If you're returning one by mail, it needs to be postmarked by the election day, November 3rd. Again, it needs to be out and in the mail before that. And you can return it in person by the end of the polls, by close of polls on November 3rd. So that's 8 p.m. And then early voting is a little different this year because all active and registered voters in New Jersey should have gotten their ballot by now or will be coming shortly. And you can vote as soon as you get your ballot. So early voting is open to everyone, and it started September 19th and it goes until November 2nd, because then on the 3rd, it's not early anymore. You're just voting in the election. So we're going to do a really quick poll. I just am interested to see if you are registered already. And we're going to start that. So are you registered? Yes. You're not registered yet. You're not sure if you're registered, or other. Maybe you're registered in another state. And right now it's 100% yes, you are registered, which is awesome. That is fantastic. Those are the kind of results I like to see. But we're still going to go over how to register. That way, if someone comes on or someone is watching this a little later, that's very important information. So let's talk New Jersey voter registration. In New Jersey, you need to be registered by October 13th. I'm going to say this a few times just because it is so important. If you miss that deadline, you will not be able to vote until you register ahead of time of another election. So if you register by October 14th, you won't be able to vote in this election. You'll still be able to vote in the next one. So it's still important to register to vote if you're not registered, even if you don't make the cutoff for this election. But if you would like to vote in this election, you need to be registered by October 13th, 2020. So who can register? It's a little bit different than who can vote. To register to vote, you need to be a US citizen, 17 years old at least, a New Jersey resident, and you had to be a resident of the county that you're voting in for at least 30 days before the election. If you just recently moved and it's been less than 30 days from the when the election will be happening, you might have to go to your original or your older polling place. And you have to not be currently incarcerated. So a person not serving a sentence of incarceration as the result of a conviction of any indictable offense under the laws of this or another state or of the United States. So state jail, federal jail, you cannot be incarcerated. However, the governor did mandate this year that if you are on parole or probation, you can vote. Your votes are reinstated, which is fantastic. That opens up the opportunity for a lot more people to express their right to vote. So also to register, you need to, if you're registering for the primaries, on your registration application, you'll need to form a party affiliation, and we'll go over that a little. So there are two ways to register this year. You can register paper application, which has been the norm up until this point. And now this year, because of the pandemic, you can also register online. And I have this website down here. This is a very important website. This is where you can go to register. But let's show what the paper application looks like. So you're going to go to that website, and you want to click on your county when you get to that website, and it'll show you the paper application for that county. Each county could be a little bit different. This one's specifically for my county, but you'll note that number one, really important. So this is the voter registration application, free to print out. And number one says check all boxes that apply. So it's either a new registration, or you're updating your address, which could change your polling location. you're changing your name and your signature, or it could be a signature update, which is important. If either of those things changed and you go to vote and your information doesn't match what they have on file, you might not be able to vote without further clarification, further certification. So if you changed your name, if you updated your signature, if you changed your address, you're going to need to change this on this form, or you can do it online. We'll go over that next. If you're voting in a primary, you need to pick a party affiliation. So to vote in the primaries, you have to be affiliated with a political party, Democrat or Republican. You can do that here. You can also change back to undeclared if you want. So if you did claim a party, say you were a Democrat and you want to switch to Republican, or you were Republican and you want to switch to Democrat, or you want to go undeclared, you can also do that at any time. And you can do that by clicking or choosing this box. And then you'll see also vote by mail on this application, because before this year, you used to have to apply to vote by mail. But because of the virus and the pandemic, the governor has made it extremely accessible and easy for everybody who is registered to vote. So the rest of the boxes are pretty self-explanatory. Your name, your location, are you a US citizen? And then this box down here is important. You need to sign and date here. And then this is someone, if you had someone help you fill out the form, this is where they put their information. So this is the front of the paper, and this is the back of the paper. So it could be one page. Some tips up here again on how you can register. You need to be 17 years old, United States citizen. Registration deadline is 21 days before an election. So again, that is October 13th. And then if you have any questions, they give their website and their phone number right here. And then it's really easy to send this in, to mail this in. You see this line here and it says fold. You're going to fold this part down. And then number 2, fold here. You're going to fold this part up, and there's a little diagram to show you here. You put a little piece of tape on it, and then you just stick it right in your mailbox. No postage necessary, so it is free. You don't need a stamp. It is free to print out and free to send in, completely free to register to vote. And this is if you do it by application. So this is the online registration. So this is the website I mentioned earlier, which is also in the handouts on the resources if you need. But you'll notice that it has the official state logo, the state seal at the top, along with the governor's name. And then there's this title bar. So we're going to go to where it says register to vote. And then we're going to scroll down. And it has a lot of information here. So specifically, we're going to do online registration. So again, it gives you those things you need to be in order to register, like 17 and a US citizen. But you're going to come down here, click this button, and it gives you a bunch of different language options. So whatever you're more comfortable reading. You're going to need your date of birth and one of the following, either a driver's license, an ID card, or a social security number. So again, if you're in the wrong spot and you would rather print out the paper form or see if you're registered, they have those helpful links down there. So we're going to click Get Started. And then again, it wants to certify that you are a US citizen, a New Jersey resident, that you've been in the state and the county for at least 30 days, that you're at least 17 years old, because you need to be at least 17 to register, and you're not currently incarcerated. So then you're going to hit next. You're going to enter in your information. And here's where you can enter in your name, your birthday, and then if you're using your social security number, you would put that there. And then you would have to upload your signature. So you could either use a touch device to do your signature, or you can upload a picture of it. And then if you have someone helping you, This is where they would enter in their information. It's all pretty self-explanatory. And then I can't go on because I'm not entering in the information, but then you would then pick your political party if you wanted to be affiliated with a party. And then again, it's going to be pretty black and white. It's going to ask you questions. You just fill it in and then you submit it and you are registered. Super easy to do online. Doesn't take any time, just a few minutes. And it should all just be information you already have on hand, like your ID or social security number or driver's license. So if you're not sure if you're registered, you're going to, on that same website, you'll see right here, it says, am I registered? You're going to click that and this page will pop up. All you need is your first name, your last name, and the month and year of your birthday. You don't need the day, just the month and the year. And it gives you some tips here, down at the bottom. So if you have a hyphen or a space, it might affect the, if it, pops up. Did you change your name due to marriage? You might want to use your maiden name if your married name isn't working. And then if you have a middle initial, but the county doesn't have a middle initial, it might not work. So that's why I say you could just leave out the middle initial, just do your first name and your last name. And then nicknames won't match either. So Kate isn't going to match Catherine and Jim won't match James. So you want to write your full first name, your full last name, the month and the year of your birthday. And then I did my information. So this is what should pop up. If you are registered, your information will pop up. If you're not registered, it might say, nothing found. Something important to note here. So it has my name, it has my date of birth, it has when I registered, and then down here it has current registration status as active. That is extremely important because there's active and there's inactive. An inactive voter is a voter whose address has come into question. So the main way that the counties receive this information is by the sample ballots that are sent before each election. If a sample ballot was ever returned or marked as undeliverable or indicates that the voter has moved, that voter is then put into an inactive status and is sent a confirmation notice informing them that they have until the second federal general election after the date of the notice to update their voting record or appear to vote and complete the necessary form, or they will be removed from the voting rolls. So if you moved and you forgot to change your address, they sent out a notice and you didn't get it, you might be marked inactive. If 2 general elections go by and you don't vote, you don't update your status, you are then unregistered. So this could happen if someone moves out of state. This could happen if someone passes. It could just happen if someone moves and forgets to update their information. So that's why it's really important. I check, even though I know I'm registered and I vote in every election, even local elections, but I still check every once in a while to make sure everything looks right, that my city and my county, which are my polling place, look right, that I'm active. It doesn't hurt to check. It literally just takes me entering in my name and my birthday. So I check every once in a while, especially if I'm really excited to vote in an election. I want to make sure everything looks good. So if it says active, if you are an active registered voter in New Jersey, you should have received a ballot in the mail. If it hasn't arrived by October 12th, you can track your ballot status online at vote.nj.gov or contact your local county clerk, which is located on the county election officials page. And you can find all of that information on here too. So right here it says, if you're having trouble finding your voter record, your current status is inactive, or you have any questions, please contact your county commissioner of registration here. And this is a link. You can click that and it will pop up with an option for you to find your county commissioner of registration. So it's really easy to check if you're registered. So we register to vote. It's not quite time for the election. It's not quite time to fill out the ballot, because now we need to make sure we're using reliable resources to make sure we know who we're voting for and what we're voting for. So voting is a human right. However, voting also involves personal responsibilities. You are given that right to vote, but you have to make sure you're using it correctly. You should find out about each candidate and the questions listed on your ballot. It's your responsibility to do your research. But it's always a little bit difficult. How do you know if your information is reliable? So you need to learn what information to trust. It can be really hard, especially with the internet being so prominent. There's so many sites out there. People can post whatever they want online. So it's important to know who to trust. So definitely if they're offering support and they're giving unbiased information. So if it doesn't sound like they're telling you who to vote for, they're just giving facts and giving information. And if they have a lot of resources, that's definitely someone who is reliable. Another way that is a lot easier to tell too is, what does the website end in? Does it end in .com? Does it end in .org? Or does it end in .gov? There is a difference to those. So .com is a commercial website. So someone's paying for that website to operate. A .org is an organization. So it's typically nonprofit. It's open source software. The difference is that .com is very purposeful about what they're putting on their website, because they're trying to make money, because they have a specific reason for operating that website. They are typically biased. So you have to look at who owns the website. You have to look at who pays for the website to be operated. But with the .org, they're informational sites. So they have no money involved. They don't care if you buy things, if you don't buy things. They want you to be informed. So going to a website that is .org is a good way to tell that they're just there to offer unbiased information that you can rely on. And visiting the candidates' websites will only give you the information that they want you to have. So they are paid for by the candidates and they are run by the campaign. They are not considered reliable information because they're just telling you what you want to hear, why you should vote for them. They're not going to list things that they think are going to make them look bad. They're only going to post positive things. They're only going to post things they want you to have. They want you to know. So I don't recommend going to the actual candidate's website. I prefer to go to more trusted websites that give me all of the facts in one place, they have no bias. They are not working for an elected official. They are not working for a candidate. They're just there to give me information. So I'm going to go through 3 of those now. So the first one is Vote 411. And this is a very easy to read website. You'll notice that it's vote411.org. So it is a .org. And it gives you personalized ballot information. So what you don't see here is I entered in my address. So it's going to give me specifically to my area the candidates and the questions that are going to be on my ballot. So right now I can choose between the US President, the Senate, House of Representatives, the freeholders, and then I can see what the 3 public questions are. What I really like about this website is they give a description of each position. So I know what the duties of the president are, I know what the term is, the base salary, and notes for that position are. It helps me understand their role and how much they'll affect in my life. So for president, it affects nationwide, right? We want to make sure we're voting for a president that is going to represent our ideals and our goals. So it's important to know what each candidate represents and what they vote for and what they stand on. So we're going to go through the two main ones right here, which is Democrat and Republican. You can put them side by side and you can see all of their information. So again, if you look at all of these websites, they're all .com, right? It's joebiden.com and donaldtrump.com. Their emails, I mean, that doesn't really count, but it's .com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. This is all information they put up themselves. So again, not information I would consider reliable. However, when you scroll down more, you can see different positions that they might take on different categories. So the first one is, what actions would you take to balance public health and economic recovery in the US? If that's something important to you, you should know where each candidate stands. So unfortunately, the one candidate hasn't responded yet, so we don't really know where they stand. So that might be something we want to look into further. So the next one is, what is the most important issue facing our country and how do you plan to address it during your first 100 days? And then they go down and there's a bunch of different categories that you can see where each candidate stands on. So it can be helpful if both candidates respond, if both candidates are verbal about these issues. If only one candidate, like in this situation, has responded, it's not so helpful. You'll still need to do your research to find out what the other candidate stands for. So now you can pick all the other candidates. It looks like only one candidate has responded. So we only have the views on one, so we're not very informed. However, when the other candidate responds, this is a very easy to read site and it will be very useful. So that was president, and we can go down to the US Senate and we can see who's running for the New Jersey US Senate. And again, we can compare on different issues. Or we can just pick one and scroll down and see what they say. So again, in this instance, only one person has responded, so we don't really know the views on all of them. And again, the same with the House of Representatives. So it looks like only one person responded. Not so much helpful, but it might be helpful if you don't know a lot about that candidate. Then you can learn more about what that person stands for, if they line up with your goals, with your ideals, with your morals, and then that can help you make a better choice. Also, there's 3 questions you can vote for in New Jersey. What I like about this is this website gives you reasons, what it means to vote no, what it means to vote yes, and then a little bit about the question. So there's 3 questions on your ballot for everyone in New Jersey. And you can learn more about that here at vote411.org. And you'll see, like at the bottom, you can click your answer, yes or no, and then it'll help you, it'll save all of your votes on this website, and you can print them out and you can bring them with you to your polling place, or you can use them when you're filling out your ballot, which is also really helpful. So that was the first one. And then we're going to go to Vote Smart. So justfacts.votesmart.org. Again, a .org. And this one's still pretty easy to use. You just go down to the search bar here, and you're going to enter in a politician's name. I entered in the Democratic president choice, and then you can click on this website. It takes a little bit longer to load, but then you can click on bio and you can just learn about the bio. It also has this fact checker here, which tallies up how many times a person has said not truthful information that's been backed by reliable sources. But you can scroll down their bio. You can see a lot of interesting things on this website. You can see their political experience, you can see their religion, you can see, where they grew up. If you scroll down to additional information, well, there's their political experience and then professional experience too. So you can see if that's, you know, in any way relates to things that you're interested in. But additional information I thought was really funny. You can see like their astrological sign, their favorite food, their current car, their first job, their favorite quotes, things like that. I thought it was really interesting. A lot of information. Number of grandchildren, their pets. Probably too much information, if we're being completely honest. And then, so you can now go to their positions, and you can see what positions they took. This is kind of similar to the other website where you can see where they stand on certain issues. So unfortunately, Joe Biden has not responded specifically to this website to get official positions. However, you see from the key, there's inferred positions. So maybe they posted about it on their website, maybe they've talked about it in the debate or online. So if you see that symbol, it's inferred. And then a quick yes or no on the left right there too will let you know like if they support something or if they don't support something. So it's a good way to see what each candidate stands for, because that is the point of voting. You want to make sure you're aligned with the person you're voting for. And sometimes that means you don't vote for someone who you usually vote for in a political party. You know, if you are registered as independent, but a Republican or a Democrat looks like something that aligns more with your goals and your ideals, then you might vote out of party, and that's okay. You can do that in the general election. So again, same thing with the other candidate. We can go down and see their political experience, which obviously he is the current president, and professional experience, and additional information. A little bummed not to see like favorite food, but that's okay. So it has a lot of the awards that he won, but again, it has all of that general information. Favorite food's not gonna sway my vote in the polls, so that's okay. So now we'll go over to positions. And again, Donald Trump has also not responded to this specific website. So a lot of these are, again, inferred from posts online, from their candidate website, or you'll see that one dot was unknown because there was no information anywhere for them to find out about. Same there. So that key means unknown. So unfortunately, they don't know about that topic. So that helps you know that this website is reliable, because they're not just going to make up information just to fill a spot. They will tell you there's nothing found, so we don't know about this issue. So that was justfacts.votesmart.org. And the last one we'll go over today is Ballotpedia. So this has a lot of information. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this website, but it's the same thing. What you're not seeing here is that I entered in my information to get an updated ballot and who is running for my specific area. So I started the recording after that, but again, it has all of the people listing, and it's called Ballotpedia because it's very much set up like Wikipedia. Lots of information, a lot of information. When I'm telling you a lot of information, there's a lot of information here. So you can find out pretty much anything. You'll see there's tabs on the top, there's tabs on the side, there is a lot of links throughout. Everything is heavily resourced, which is very appreciated. You know that the information is reliable, or you can at least see where this information is coming from. And again, it's a lot of information. They go into the past election. Here are the policy issues, so you can see where they stand on different policies. And you can just click whichever one you're interested in. And then these are economic affairs and then international foreign policy. So it's a lot of information. So I would plan to spend a lot of time researching. The more information you know about the candidates, the better your decision will be. You'll know that your vote is the right vote for you that you should be making. So now let's check out the next candidate. And again, same thing. If you go to the top, it says their running mate, biography, career. And it's just the same kind of information. Everything is referenced and has a resource so you know where these claims are coming from. We do know that Joe Biden was the vice president, so this has that history from when he was the vice president. And then it just goes on. So those are just 3 websites, and there are a lot of other websites that you could check out information to find out which candidate is right for you. So we registered, so we're good to go in the election. We've done our research. We know who we want to vote for. So now let's talk about voting. So who can vote? This is different from who can register. You still have to be a US citizen and a New Jersey resident, but you have to be 18 to vote. So you can register when you're 17, but you have to be 18 to vote. And this was set up so that way if you turn 18 the day of or within that deadline, the 21 days to the election, you can still register before you can vote. So you can register when you're 17 and still be eligible to vote as long as you're 18 by the time the election comes. You have to be registered in New Jersey and currently, not currently incarcerated. So again, kind of the same, the only difference is the age. So there are 3 ways to vote this year. So again, everything is specific to New Jersey and it's specific to 2020. So you can vote in person, through ballot drop boxes, or mail-in voting. And we're going to go over each one now. So to find polling locations, to find out where you can vote in person, you want to go back to where you had your information. So we went to the Am I Registered? And you want to note the city and the county that you are registered in. That's important. So write that down or print that out. And then you're going to go back to the portal. And you're going to click on the New Jersey Voter Information Portal, go down to where it says polling locations. So we're not registering, we already did Am I Registered? We're going to go straight under that into polling locations. So we're going to scroll down and you're going to go to your county where it says on your registration where you're registered, and then the city. So for an example, we'll go to Warren County, and then you just find the city that you're registered in, and it'll tell you where to vote. So if you're registered in Franklin, that's the address you would go to. And it tells you what it is next to it. So this is a community center. So you would vote in Asbury if you're registered in Franklin, in Warren County. And you see it'll go by all of the different towns. So if you're registered in White in Warren County, that's where you're going to register. And that is a school gym. So you'll know what to keep an eye out for. And typically when you go, there'll be lots of signs of where to go inside the building. Hackettstown is a big town, so you see there's 2 different locations. So it's important to know your district number. So you can usually find that also on your registration. Also, if you go to one place and they don't have it, that's one way you could do it too. You know you are in the wrong location. So towns that have 2 polling locations or more are typically aware that there's more than one polling location in that area. So they will tell you, sorry, you're not registered here. Are you registered at the other location? So you may choose to vote in person at your polling place. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on November 3rd. You will be provided a provisional paper ballot though. So that is important to know. You're not given an official ballot, you're given a provisional ballot. And a provisional ballot is normally cast by a voter whose eligibility cannot be confirmed by election day. So what happens is they count up all of those votes except the paper provisional ballot, and then after the election, it is determined that the voter can or cannot vote, and then the votes are counted. So it is important to note that if you are going to the polls to vote, there are no machines except for an accessible device that someone who has a disability and they have to bring some certification saying that as well, you will be given a provisional ballot. The governor is really trying to do everything he can to ensure that we do not go in person. We are trying to prevent the virus from spreading even more. If you do decide to go in person, you need to wear a mask. And again, know that you will be given a provisional ballot. You will not be voting in a machine. You can, however, hand in your mail-in ballot that you have to your polling place, and they can take that. That will be counted as an official vote, not a provisional ballot. And there is no in-person polling place early voting. So you can't vote early if you're going to go in person to your polling location. You can only go on election day, which is November 3rd from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. There are also ballot drop boxes all over the state. To find out where they are, again, you're going to go to that main website, to the portal, scroll down, and you'll see, we see all the other links, the polling locations. To the left of that is secure drop boxes. You're going to scroll down and see where in your county they are located. So again, everything's broken down by county. So we'll go to Somerset County this time for an example, and it'll tell you exactly when the box was installed and where it is. And you'll see the pictures on the left here. This is what they'll look like. Most likely they'll look like the top box. Some might look like the bottom box. So it'll give you an exact address and drop box located in front of municipal building as of 9/28. All right, so let's learn a little bit more about mail-in voting. All right, let's talk about mail-in voting. So everything should come in an envelope that looks like this. Mine is opened, obviously, I opened it. Yours should be completely sealed. It has the official mail-in ballot and logo here. It says it's from your local county clerk up here. And then down here, please note it says, to protect your vote, it is against the law for anyone except you, the voter, to open, mark, inspect, or seal this ballot. However, a family member may assist you in doing so. That's just to protect your vote. It's a very serious offense if you are opening someone else's mail, let alone messing with someone else's ballot. If there are multiple voters in the House, you will see the name and the address of each person, so you know whose ballot is who. So if it's not your name, but it is your address, then it's not your ballot, it's someone else in your house. So just look for your name. So when you open it up, first thing you'll see is a letter from your county clerk. One side is in English and the other side is in Spanish. And just really fast, I want you to read this all, but I'm just going to go over a little bit of what it says. Typically, normally, in a normal, outside of a pandemic election year, you would have to apply to get a mail-in ballot. But the governor signed an executive order to make voting accessible and easy for everybody during the virus without having to go and get one. So if you're an active registered voter in New Jersey, you are automatically sent one. If you didn't get one, you might not be active, so you can do that by checking on the website, which is also on this piece of paper, and you can call your county clerk and find out what's going on as well. They do mail them out in sections, so you just might not have gotten yours yet, but it should come if you're active and registered in New Jersey. Then there's a paragraph I want to read. It says, if you want to participate in the general election, please use the enclosed vote by mail ballot. A limited number of polling places will be available for voters on election day, where voters may vote only by provisional paper ballots, or you can return this official vote by mail ballot there. If you have a disability and need an accessible vote by mail ballot, please contact your local county clerk, and it should give you a phone number here. Or you may go to your assigned polling place, which will provide you with access to an in-person accessible voting device on election day. That is not a provisional vote. So that is an official vote if you need it, an accessible vote by mail or an accessible voting device. All right. So the rest of it tells you when the election day is, what times your polling place is open, and then it gives a website and a phone number if you have any questions or if you need any help. Next up is the ballot. So here is the official ballot, and it folds out pretty big. You'll notice there's two sides. So this has the people who are running, so the candidates, and then I also have a little section down here for my local Board of Education. And then on the back, I have 3 questions. So we're going to go over that, but I want to go over what else is in the envelope. You have 2 more envelopes inside your vote by mail ballot envelope. So you have this one, which looks a lot like the one that everything came in. It's just a little smaller, but it still has the official mail-in ballot with the logo. You'll notice that it says postage paid, so you do not need a stamp to mail in your vote, which is fantastic. And then it has some reminders on the back. So it's important to kind of check them off one by one before you seal everything up. Make sure everything is done. Then you have a second envelope. It says for your vote to count, certificate of mail-in voter, and do not detach. Very important. It looks like it really wants to be detached, but do not detach this. And if you open it up, you're going to see a section right here. So again, do not tear off this flap, so don't do that. But you're going to see a section here, and this is for if someone is assisting you in filling out your ballot or helping you with your vote, they have to fill this portion out for your vote to be legal. All right, so let's go back to the ballot. So we're going to open this up, and on one side, you'll see again, the candidates, and the candidates go vertical across. So it says president right here, and that goes across like this. And then United States Senate underneath that. And then House of Representatives, and then chosen freeholders underneath that. And then again, look at the whole ballot. I noticed that I have my local school district information here for voting on Board of Education. You'll also notice that next to the names of the candidates are little circles, and that is how you vote. So you can use a pen, a black or blue pen, you can use a pencil, but you're going to fill in the circle completely like this. You want to make sure the circle is completely dark, and you want to make sure you're only voting for the amount of people you can vote for. So you'll notice over here it says vote for 1, then over here vote for 1, then down here vote for 1, vote for 1. But with my Board of Education, I can vote for 3. So for my Board of Education, I would fill out 3 circles. But for these, it says only vote for 1. So I'm going to fill out 1 circle in each row. Okay. So again, you can use a pen, a paper, a pen or pencil. The pen has to be blue or black, and you want it filled out completely like this dark circle. If you're writing in your vote, you're going to write the name legibly, make sure it's very legible right here, and then also fill out that circle, okay? So you have to do both. On the back, you have 3 questions, and these are vertical. So question 1 goes up and down, question 2 is up and down, and question 3 is up and down. And then at the bottom again, you see yes and no with little circles, and that's how you vote. It's very important to make sure you're researching ahead of time who you are voting for, what they stand for, what the questions mean. You'll see that there's a lot of words, and they try to explain what the question is, and then an interpretive statement. So how, like another way of wording it to help you understand what the question means. But if you go on reliable resources and websites, they will break it down for you so that you know exactly what it means and how it might affect you. So again, let's go to the front. We have the candidates and they're horizontal across. So they go president, and then Senate, House of Representatives, and freeholders. Yours might look a little different. This is specific to my area. So that's why it's important to research ahead of time your area and your ballot. I look over the whole ballot. I notice I have this little local school district here. And then on the back, I have 3 questions to vote for. So you're a registered voter, you have your ballot, but you don't have to vote for everything. If you only want to vote for president, if you're unsure what the questions mean and how they'll affect you, you don't have to answer the questions. It's your right, and you should be aware of everything that's on the ballot so you can fully exercise your right in voting, but it's also your choice, you don't have to. If for some reason your ballot gets messed up, it gets torn, you realize you voted for the wrong person, you can contact your local county clerk and they will send you out a new ballot, or you can go pick it up from them. So now your ballot is complete. You're going to fold it back up, and we're going to come back to this envelope. We're going to open it up and slide the ballot inside. If anyone helped you, again, they have to fill out this portion. Then you could tear off the adhesive, fold it down, and then note you have to sign here. So again, we're not detaching this, but you still have to sign here. And this basically says that it is you who is doing this. It is, you are aware that this is your vote. This is not fraudulent information. Everything is true. And then we're going to take this whole thing and put it in this other envelope. So now this is the second envelope that our ballot is in. So we put our ballot in that first envelope, and now that whole second envelope goes in here. So you want to make sure your name and address is shining through the window. Obviously, I didn't do that now because I'm not sharing my personal information, but you want to make sure before you mail it in that your name and your address can be seen clearly through this window. On the back, go over these steps. Make sure that you filled everything out properly and that your vote is going to count and there's not going to be any issues. So it just reminds you that you have to seal the envelope, that you have to place your ballot in the other envelope first and then put that envelope in there. It also says that no person is permitted to serve as a bearer for more than 3 qualified voters in an election. So that means if you're helping someone vote, you can only do it for 3 people. So if there is a household that has 5 voters and they all need support and they all need help, you would need to get at least 2 different people to help support those people. So that is very important. You can only help 3 people vote. That's very important to note. And then once this is done, there's adhesive tape on the envelope. You can just peel that off, seal it up. Now you can bring this to the polling place on election day. You can put this right in your mailbox. Again, you don't need a stamp. Postage is already paid, and you can be assured that that is safe and secure, because remember, it is a federal crime to mess with a ballot, anyone else's ballot, or anyone else's mail. And you can also drop this in local drop boxes that are all around the state and be assured that that is also safe and secure. So no matter how you choose to vote, you will know that your vote is secure, it is safe, and it will get there and it will get counted. Thanks. So just remember that your ballot might look a little bit different than the ballot I showed on camera. So how I had the little box of Board of Elections, yours might be up by the candidates. My ballot also specifically said I could use blue or black ink and a pencil. Some ballots you have to use black ink. Some ballots are very specific about the color ink. Some ballots you cannot use pencil. So it's important to read all of your ballot before you start filling it out. And you'll see that up at the top where they give you the example of what your circle should look like. It will tell you what kind of ink you need to use. You can also track your ballot once you mail it in or once you put it into a Dropbox, which are picked up every day. And so again, we're going back to this New Jersey Voter Information Portal website, and then you scroll down to track my ballot. And here is where you can easily, you have to log in and first set up a voter information system account, which is very easy to do. Again, you just need your voter ID, which you can get from the registration page, and your social security or your driver's license. And then you can also call your county election official, so your county clerk's office, and they can help track your ballot. So you can make sure that it was received. I did this for the primaries, and it was very easy to use, very easy to see where my ballot was and that it was counted, and it gave me a little bit of peace of mind. So now some quick voting questions. Can I vote if I have a guardian? Definitely. You can vote even if you are not your own guardian. So there's only one person that can tell you you cannot vote, and that is a judge. By either being incarcerated, you know that you cannot vote, but also a judge specifically has to take that right away from you and give it to a guardian. It is not part of a normal, regular or general guardianship. And typically a judge will not do this. It is very rare. So unless you went to court and a judge said you cannot vote, I take that right away from you and give it to your guardian, which again is very rare, you can vote. It does not matter that you have a guardian. It doesn't matter if you're not your own guardian. You can vote. If I am registered, do I have to vote? So we went over this already. You should know the answer is no, of course not. You should vote because it is your right and it is your civil duty as a citizen, but you do not have to. That is your choice. And I heard that vote by mail ballots are not secure. Is this true? It is not true. Tampering with mail is a federal offense. Voting by mail is taken extremely seriously, and it is very secure. If for some reason you don't want to vote by mail, you still have other options. You can vote by the drop boxes, which work as locks. So once you put your vote in that drop box, it can only be opened by someone who has the key, which is a county clerk official. And you also can hand deliver your vote by mail packet with your ballot at polling locations the day of as well. However, rest assured that it is extremely secure to vote by mail. So remember, register by October 13th. Make sure you're reading the whole ballot, the front and the back, and you're reading about what kind of ink you can use on your ballot. You want to make sure there are no mistakes. If you make a mistake, just contact your local county clerk and get a new ballot. Educate yourself before you vote. Know who the candidates are and what they represent, and then vote responsibly. If you need additional support or questions, you can visit vote.nj.gov for full details. That was pretty much the website we were on. You have so much information there along with frequently asked questions. Or Disability Rights New Jersey also has a very special phone number that they use, or a hotline or an email, and you'll see that on here too. If you have any issues leading up to, so dealing with registration, you can call them or email them. However, that hotline number is available from 9 a.m. to 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day if you're having any issues. So if you want to bring support with you into an accessible device, voting device in your polling location, and someone is telling you you can't, you can call this number and the lawyers on the other line will help you vote. Will help express, what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and get your voice heard. That's important to note too. You can bring support with you if you need to. All right, and then just really quick, here's some other ways to stay up to date with New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project in regards to election, but also a lot of other things. You can join our email list here. You can also sign up for our Healthy Lifestyles Project Live, which is every Wednesday and Friday. We do different healthy lifestyles classes and workshops for any adult with intellectual or developmental disabilities, and you can sign up for that here. We also do free trainings. We do free trainings on the election, on the census, and a lot of other things. So we now have this designated page where you can sign up for our trainings there. And also everything is available on all of our social media, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And those are all the links there. And here are the resources, which are also available in your handouts. And here is my information. So I don't see any questions. I hope that means that everything was explained very well. However, if you do have a question that you think of afterwards, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or visit one of our resources that can help you with that. So thank you so much for coming today, and I hope that everybody gets out and expresses their voice and their right and votes in this election. Thank you.